Okay, yesterday we have learned how to use state and how we update our state and how our React components render after we are changing the state. Any question about it? Do you have any questions?
What's the one piece of state we directly changed yesterday, guys?
Yeah.
What's the one thing we could do as a user?
What piece of state did we try to update yesterday in yesterday lab? The player choice, the computer choice, the colors, the outcome, right? So the second thing is we also try to pass props from the parent into the children, right? Can anyone tell me the syntax for that? Two.
Yes.
How do you pass prop from the parent to the children components? What, really?
From the parent to the children.
From the parent. You have to define your props, like the ones you want inside of your
When you call it, right?
Yeah, and then they need to be set somewhere else.
Something like this. Right? And here is the value that you want to pass to your children.
Yeah.
Okay, and inside in your children component you would call it props or something, right? Okay, that's good for today. I think I hide it once. Okay, today we will move on to using fetching API with React, and then we set state the data, the response that we got from the API, right? And then we render it to the UI. So let's go with it. Just like how we fetch in JavaScript, we also use the fetch method here. And inside the fetch, we have the URL, which is the API that we are going to get the data from. There are also a couple of other libraries. For example, we also have ACS or XML.
Yeah.
The other one is XML, but let's focus on just fetch for now. Okay, stick to the basic first. Unorganized, man. So
it's fine. You want it?
You want to go?
Okay, guys, we keep talking about how there are multiple ways of writing React. Today, we're going to use hooks first, and then afterwards, we're going to show you how to build a component that does the exact same thing. Okay, except the code is going to be longer, and it's going to have a couple different, things that we need to know about it. A couple different rules. Okay. So this, you guys can see something called lifecycle. It's like a component lifecycle. The components, they on the screen, they like live for a certain amount of time, and then they stop living. That's kind of the way that you can think of it. So for example, yesterday, right, when we signed in, we clicked that sign in button, right? After we clicked the sign in button, then the game component lived on the screen. But before that, it was not born yet. You can think of it as being born yet. And like that seems stupid right now, but we're going to show you guys examples in a little bit, okay? So just know that there's something called life cycle. So it's like where the component is in its life. Like was it just created? Is it about to be thrown away, etc.
So initialization is like you're an embryo, you're pregnant.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Like how it's basically it's default value.
Initialization is having sex, mounting.
Yeah.
Pregnancy.
Yeah.
Being born and unmounting is dying.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
You guys will see examples in a second, don't worry. All right, come on, let's do that. Yeah.
Let's talk about initialization first. Yesterday we have the default value for hook, right? We use state, and then we have the value inside use state. It's the initializations. Okay, and then mounting, you haven't touched about the mounting yet, so we'll talk about it later. Updating, not yet, and then unmounting. We barely touch it.
You guys don't need to worry about this
Yeah.
that much anymore because like this is out the door. This is going out the door. This is a bad way of doing it. That's why, you know, the team at Facebook was like, look, we need something better, you know, and they came out with the hooks that you guys played with yesterday. So you guys can see the code and you're gonna see an example of them side by side in a little bit.
So for component did mount is a method for class-based component. It's old. Right now we use another different method called use effect instead of component did mount. Okay. And most of the time you are gonna work with component did mount or use effect. If you run into some other stuff, you're doing something wrong.
And what we're using it for?
For mounting, updating, and also unmounting.
So use
Only
effect.
one use effect does all of them. Yeah. Okay, Thương.
They're the same kind of component or they're different?
They're different.
What do you mean component? What do you mean component?
No, the
These only exist inside one component.
and you use effect.
Use effect also it acts like a mounting, updation, or unmounting.
So the use effect is more effective.
Shorter, yes.
Okay.
Efficient.
Okay.
Okay. And how do we use it? This class-based component. Basically, we just define we just call the method. We don't call a method within that class, and then we put our logic inside it. Like for example, when the component mount, we want to start the counting from 0. Okay. You can do it. Or when the component mounts, you want to call an API. Something like that.
So
Yeah.
when you're mounting, so when you actually show that component, you immediately want it to start doing something.
That's
yeah.
exactly what it means, man. You guys are gonna see
Now.
certain components, as soon as they show up, you need them to do something. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they're for.
Did mount, and you do something. Okay, here's a general flow. This is the old one. Initialize, and then you, for example, in this our next example, next exercise, we got a flow. Our flow will be like this. For initialize, initially we saw the loading spinner. When we first go to load the component, we have a loading screen, like for example waiting or loading, and then we fetch some data. After that, we receive a response, and then we set the loading spinner we hide it, and then we show the content. Okay, so that's how it works. Initialize, call API, update our state according to the API data, and then we show the new data. We hide the loading spinner. Okay. Okay. Some mistake that beginners usually run into, like people trying to call too many API when the component first mount. Like for example, instead of calling just one API, you're trying to call multiple ones. That will slow down your app, and the more you do things, the more problem you will run into. The higher chance. See.
It's a bit like this asynchronous functions type.
Yes. And also, not every API will return some data that you expected. You expect, right? Some may not.
What
That's
do we have to do in those cases?
we use try catch to handle the errors. Basically, that's the rocket in our exercise. Try and catch means like you try something, it failed, you do something else.
I'll show you guys an example in a second
Yeah.
when we get coding.
Okay. Any questions about the life cycle? I know this may be confused for now, but
Yeah, too many questions.
okay.
I can just stare at that.
So do we have to show them the syntax?
No, man, just show them the demo and build it and explain it. Show them an example. Okay.
Okay, here's our weather app. that Lloyd built for us, right? He wants us to make it look exactly like this.
Exactly.
Do you want to?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
No, but I do want you to put some effort into making it beautiful. Once you make it work, then you make it beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay?
At least it has to be functioning like this. You have the city, you have the temperature in Celsius and Fahrenheit. You have the conditionals, weather. You don't need this. Why is it Ho Chi Minh City here? This is our current locations, the real location.
How do we know that's the case? Because there's also cyclone at the top left, first position. How do we know it's doing geolocation?
Man, let's see.
We could prompt the user and tell them it's the current location. I didn't. I told them the exact location they're at so that
See?
the API. But yeah, how do we prompt the user to get the location?
And look at the loading.
So we figure out how to do
spinner
that.
here. Look at this loading spinner here. And okay, what if I block?
Then it probably will still load.
There's a bug here.
Ah, fucked up. I didn't plan for this. I expected everyone to say yes.
You didn't build that part. Okay.
Fuck. I fucked up, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay, try again. Okay, allow. Still fucked up. Okay, here we go. This is our current location, our local current longitude and latitude. Okay, let's start with the requirement, the basic requirements for our lab today. What's this? So slow. Okay. So here's our task to complete for this project. Get the user locations. And then we call an API to get the weather information, details for our locations. Okay, we receive the data from the API in the JSON format. We have to pass it into a JavaScript object format. And then we render it into our UI for the user to see. And then at the end, you have a couple of more rocket tasks. Loading spinner and error handle. Error handling. And then we have to forecast multiple days, not just today. Okay, let's start. First, you need to create an account at Open Weather. Go into this link. No. Create an account. I already have an account, so I just sign in. Oops, so bad. Go to the API.
See, it's the same screen here. Look at this one. Try to look at this one. It's the same screen.
What do you mean screen?
Don't look at that screen. Look at your screen.
Alright. And then you have the API documentation. You should read it. For every API, you have to read their documentation because every API has different like queries, different formats, something like that, right? Spend some time to read it. Basically, this is how it will respond to our request. There's a bunch of things that we don't understand. We have to read the documentation to try to understand what it says. Okay. Close this. Let's start with the. I already created my React app here. Weather. Open my app. Okay, basically I have nothing inside. Okay, this is a default. We install Bootstrap because we are trying to use some Bootstrap styling to save some time. Okay, install Bootstrap and then import it into our app. And then here our technical lead want us to use his format, so copy it, put in here. Okay, now see. Okay, cool. Our app is up and running, but we want our app to have a black background according to the instructions here. I don't know why he likes the color black. Put in here. Okay. Something wrong, man.
You didn't import app.css in the file. It's about to import on.
Okay. Okay, here we go. We got the style. The styles here work. Everything work. Now we start typing. We're going to use hook first, right? And then we change it to class background.
Guys, what do we need to do now? Is the app done? What do we need to do now? Well, fetch API for what?
For weather.
For the weather what?
To get information and then put it on the screen.
No. We need something more specific. We need something before we even get the weather.
The location.
We need to get the location. Like we need to figure out where the user is right now. That's the first thing we need to determine. The app is up and running. We have a screen. We got some text. Now we need to update the weather. The first thing we need to figure out is where the current user is. And now Quad's going to show you how to do that.
Okay, we will first try with hook, and then we change it to class background later. Okay. Hook. We need to define a function to get our current location. So I don't know how to do it. I Google how to get location. Yes. Here you go. This is one, right?
Just that one right there. Copy the whole thing, man.
Okay. This is our use spec method. Inside it is another function. Open. Okay. This is another function. I call this element pause. Here, let's console log. What pause is?
Post.
Yeah.
Position.
Short position. Okay.
Define a function that does it first, man, and then introduce use phase.
Define function.
Define a separate function that will get the user's location, and then introduce user phase.
Okay, now let's just define a function first. Get location. Okay. And in here we console log pause. Open in console. We see console log. Here we got a function. What's this?
We got some coordinates.
Yeah, it's an object.
Just look right here, Carl.
Sorry. An object. Inside the object we have coordinations, right? Inside coordination we have the longitude and the latitude. Okay. Now pause.code. Okay. Okay, so we get the longitude and latitude of our current location here, right here, using JavaScript.
Explain in detail what happened. And guys, inside of there's this thing that's freely available called Navigator. That's an object that exists for free. Okay, just like document, just like Windows, just like console. Inside of Navigator, we have a key called geolocation. That is also an object. Inside of that, we have another key called get something, I forgot. Get current position. When we call that key, it's a function. You can tell by the parentheses. And when we call it, we have to give it a function as its first argument.
So these are all built into React.
No, this is bigger than React. This can work on your previous projects as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be React. You can use it in just not a vanilla JavaScript. Yeah.
Gets more complicated, guys. Okay. So we're showing you the simplest way to use it right now. We just define a function that runs that code, and we called it immediately. That's all that happened right there.
Okay. Now we're gonna call an API from using this location. Yes. Okay. Now instead of just console log, we're gonna call a function here, do something here, right? Okay. But first we need to get the API, the link, the URL for our API. This one, right?
I think so, yeah.
Let's take this one. Okay, define another function called, for example, calls get data. Remember how to use async and await in our previous example, previous exercise. Async outside. Okay. Then cons. Await. Fetch. Inside fetch, we put our URL here. Oh, I'm sorry. Only Khoa did it. Well, calling API. Calling API.
Yeah, we just call API.
Okay,
But we can't just call this API like what it is right now, guys. What do we need to introduce this this API that's going to give us the current weather at the current location? Just look at the URL.
Yeah, you can only need to insert the laptop.
We need to change the value here.
Yes. So guess what? When the app first loads, first we get the user's location, then we call this API and we get to pass this function, the current user's latitude and longitude. Okay, we're going to do that.
We call it lat, long here. But we need something else. We need an API key in order this fetch to work. Okay, that's why we need to read the documentation. We have to register an API. Subscribe. Get an API key and start. Sign up and do something. Okay, for example, if you have an API key here, you put it in right here. No, like this. This is another parameter for API. You put it in here, the whole thing here. Replace it with your API. How the hell do I get my API?
You gotta sign in.
I did.
Look right here, Paul. Okay, now do it. Right here, now right here.
Okay.
There you go.
Let this website suck. Yeah, we can be better at it. Documentation.
API.
This suck, man. Tell me how to do it.
Search API, man. Command F,
I
API.
have to read it.
Your technical lead is going to listen to that.
And the free.
Okay. Oh, you really remember all that?
And app ID
And
equals-
app.id. Okay.
Okay, so we need a
And app ID. It's in capital, and here's our API. Okay. Any question up until this step?
Guys, what do you think response is going to be on line 19? Is that going to be a string, an array? What do you guys think is going to, what's going to be inside the object that we want?
An object.
Another object. Okay. Just guess what key it is. I want you guys to think about what the key is going to be, okay? Before we look at it.
Now we call it function instead of console log. This coordinate.
Yes.
Okay, let's see what happened. Nothing happened. Okay. Bar request. It's not a float. No, this is not Python.
Parse in.
Let's try pass in first.
I don't think that's going to be accurate though, right? Just want to make it that accurate.
Pass flow.
We got to put it to like 5 decimal places.
Yep.
Why do you use parse float instead of parse int?
Because our location here, our coordinate here says it has to be correct, exact, you know.
Okay, so
To some extent, you cannot just get pass int.
so when do we use parse int and when do we use parse float?
Pass flow means you get the whole decimal places.
Okay.
Does it work?
How many?
Do 2 fixes like 5 or 6.
And then
Do just the number, whatever number it is. 2
Two
fixes.
decimal places.
And what?
Yeah.
Shall we try doing the parsing? Let's just see how it goes.
Okay.
If it's a float, man, it's not going to be accurate.
Yeah.
Latitude, longitude, you need to like float precision. Alright, man. You sure you have the right API, man?
Maybe the API needs floats.
Yeah.
Like you can't send it. It doesn't go, oh, we'll fill in the dot dot 00 for you.
Oh man, our coordinate is wrong. Look at this. This is longitude and then latitude. Instead I put it latitude and then longitude. It's wrong.
But do we know that the API is working? Have we checked Postman?
Here, it's working.
I was wondering.
You tell me something wrong here. Okay. Then just put lat and then long here. Okay, now we get the data.
So can you go over again what your error was in that? Just in that quickly.
Okay, the problem we ran into before was I put it wrong order here. Instead of longitude first, I put it latitude first. And then our API server say, hey, that's the wrong number. Okay, and then we try to fix it. And then I figure out, okay, I was wrong here. I changed back to longitude and then latitude.
I don't know loads about navigation, but is it not possible to have the inverse of a longitude and a latitude in terms of value?
So I understand where Ed you're going with this one, but I think yes. But that being said, our numbers were so wrong that the API knew that we had done it wrong. They just went ahead and told us. They built a good API.
It's like not exist. That longitude, that
Like-
coordinate doesn't exist.
Yeah, something like that. That's what happened right there.
Hey
Hey man, later on this
I don't know,
class,
maybe I'll have a look at that after. I'll take
later on this class, we're gonna look at it. We're gonna figure out which one negatives are. I know on east and west, on the east and west axis, west is negative.
Yeah.
West is negative. On the right is positive. I always forget the other one though, the inverse.
So here's data we got from the API. We have the current location in which is Ho Chi Minh City. Okay. The what's this? I think this is a time of sunrise and sunset.
Timestamp. It's a timestamp of when it
yeah.
happens.
And here we have the humidity, pressure, temperature, temperature and the max temperature and the mean temperature. Which number is it? I don't understand this number. It's Fahrenheit format, so we need to change it to Celsius.
300 Fahrenheit? I don't know Fahrenheit.
You don't know?
300 Fahrenheit? Is that a real temperature?
No way, that's way too fucking. That's hot on
that's what I'm
fire.
saying.
There's
That's
a third one. There's a third one. What's it called again?
Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Is Kelvin the same thing as Celsius? Am I fucking wrong?
No, Kevin is absolute.
Is that Fahrenheit?
No, that's way too hot in Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I'm positive, bro. I'm
Yeah,
positive.
it's all
Dude.
in Kelvin.
It's impossible, man.
Kelvin. It's not
304 Kelvin
Celsius.
is 31 Celsius.
Okay, then it's Kelvin. There we go. Why
Kelvin.
is it in Kelvin though?
Because it's easy then for you to do the calculation. back.
Kelvin is a scientific. It's for science, okay?
Ah.
This is science, man. Before you guys fucking around building little stupid ass apps the way we do, right? There are real scientists using this data, man, and they're figuring out real scientific breakthroughs, man, making the world better and shit. And they need us to know how fucking hot it is in Africa right now. You know what I'm saying? That's some real shit, man. For real, that's what all this stuff is science, man. This is built for scientists. Okay, so just know there's a lot of good information. Does anyone here have a little machine that can tell me how much pressure it is right now here in Saigon? Anyone? You guys have lived here a long time. No one has a machine like that? Damn.
I can feel it.
Isn't there an app for that?
No, your phone does not. Your phone does not have instruments that can measure these things. Okay, they need specific instruments, and each one of these costs like $500, $1,000, something like that, right? So just know that there's like some instrument that does this, and someone has made that information publicly available for us. So we need to use it, unless we're gonna, buy a machine and put it in every single city in the world, which is, outrageous. We cannot do that.
So right now I don't understand Kelvin. I need to change it to Celsius or Fahrenheit. There are two ways to do it. We change it ourselves, we convert it ourselves, or we tell the API, hey, I need Celsius. Give me the Celsius, okay? There are two ways to do it.
Is that imperative or declarative?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's declarative.
Let's go to our documentation
I think that's how you get it.
and read it.
It's
Celsius. What, really?
If you have a little button on the top right, it's degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit. So I don't know if it helps.
We
Unit.
define
Temperature
unit.
You
Here.
want to find unit, bro.
Here. Okay, so we got the unit. We find the unit. Okay, here's how we get a matrix like Celsius. Copy it, stick it into our API URL. Hit an end here.
Conversion?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll
two ways to do it. You
What
tell
was
me
the second goes, guys? What was the second go? 5 million? What was the number?
304.
300 and something. Let's see what that changes.
Wait, will it be Fahrenheit or Celsius? Oh, Fahrenheit, Celsius.
Nice. Good job.
We didn't have to do any function.
I don't know.
So which way do you want? Do you want to convert it by yourself or just tell the API to change? Actually, it depends on the user location, right? What if they are in the US, America?
Yours is
Ed, you
Is
just
this-
use Fahrenheit
it's fine?
or Celsius?
Celsius.
Really?
We use Celsius.
YouTube?
Almost everywhere in the world uses it other than the US.
Okay, let's stick with this.
The Celsius one.
Do you guys know Celsius actually use Swedish?
Okay. What's the next step? We got the data. Now we need to set it. See? We need to store our data to our app, right? So to do that, we have two different ways using class-based component or hook functional-based component. Let's try with functional-based component first. Cons. You need to import. Use effect here. State. Okay. Con something equal to use state. data, set data. Actually, we shouldn't call it data because we are also call something here data. We should call it something more make more sense. Weather, set weather. Okay, and then we call set weather. Do we want to get all the information here, or just part of it? Which part?
The location, the temperature, and the weather description.
Okay, just take all of it.
Just take all of it. Okay, it's okay.
It's like you want to take half of it and just take all of it.
Nah, you probably want to take all of it. Just stick it all in there.
Okay, and then console log.
Because if you take all of it, right, you can look up all of it. If you take,
Just don't use whatever ones you don't want.
so if it's a massive API, pulling loads of data, that slow you down, and in that scenario, you'd say actually.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the.
But
Okay.
here it's not asking, it's not taking so much, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is like a reasonable level to take? If it's like this, maybe 20, 30 different.
It depends on your project and the data you get, right? And then you decide which part you want to get. Right now, we don't know how much data we have to use. So just check them all.
I suppose you just look at your site, the site starts slowing down, then you start thinking, right?
Yeah. Right now, it's just an object, a very short object. What's this? Okay. I have a problem here, right? It's called multiple times. See?
Call back in 21 and 25.
So we have to revamp it, and then we have to use effect.
Explain what use effect is.
How do you explain it?
Guys, this is super important, okay? What we're about to show you is something called use effect. Use effect on line 17 is imported from React. We get this for free from React. Someone already built this for us, okay? When we call the function use effect, we call it within the body of our component. It's within the body of our component. It's not within another function. See, use effect is right here. A function's right here. It's inside the body of this app component. Okay? The first argument that we give use effect when we call it is a function. And the second argument will depend on what you need to have happen. Okay? The second one is dependent on a couple of different things, and you guys will figure that out soon. Okay? But right now we're just gonna put in an empty brace because what empty brackets because what that says is fire me one time. I want this to work one time.
Only
Okay?
one time.
So that being said, what do we want to have one time happen on our app?
We want to with one.
The API data is come through once.
Yeah, we want to ask the user for the location and then afterwards get the data using their location. So inside of this use effect, we're going to put on a new line and we're just going to call the function that we defined.
No, not this
So
one.
what if you wanted to run like 2 or 3 times?
Okay, and then we'll talk about that later when it happens. But right now, let's start small, okay?
Why would you want to run 3 times?
I don't know. Like.
So it depends on something in here. For example, if something changes in your component, you put it here. You want, for example, if you want to get for example, the weather change, right? Put weather here. So every time the weather changes, this function will be called again. Okay.
And that will be
Simple as
useful. That
Yes.
actually is useful. But like I was trying to say, to start small, understand what use effect does.
Right now we don't need it for now, so we skip that part. Stay simple. Run only one time. Okay, let's see. It doesn't twice for some reason. I think we have 2 console log. Oh yeah. Okay.
Stick the data. Stick the data.
Okay, now next step, we need to render our data in our UI. Okay, here we have location name called weather dot something, I don't know, I don't remember. Weather dot name. Okay, let's see. Name 75. Why? You see this side? Undefined. So because our initial state, we don't have anything here, right? So give a no value at the start from the beginning, and then we have to do something here. If whether, and then whether dot name. There you go. We don't want the location name here, so how do we move it? Oh my god. How? Okay, that's declarative.
Truth be told.
So how do we do it?
Online. So yeah, you find location.
Oh, replay.
But you
Yeah,
No,
so we just
Delete the
deleted
first
it.
one.
But
Oh shit.
are you not gonna delete the one on the left?
I thought it's in our data.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Come on.
That's right.
So your answer is correct.
How are you gonna do it? We're like, oh really?
Oh yeah.
This is what we can do. Like.
Oh shit, it doesn't show it now. I don't have to.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what?
Yeah.
Exactly what we want. Okay, then what next? The temperature. Temperature. Do we have to render on the max, on the minimum, or just this one? It depends on our product owner.
Yeah.
Okay, just see this temperature, same thing. Right. We need a very small O here.
Just find it online, copy paste it.
Yeah.
Or there's probably some formatting thing to do.
How do we?
Celsius
Hey,
symbol.
Celsius
Just put
with
Celsius symbol and you'll find it.
That's just simple.
Symbol.
Is it the C? Yeah, it's a C symbol.
Just copy it. There.
Second.
I have to click on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get this. How it was?
Not like formatting it.
Oh!
Wait. Okay.
Oh.
Slow. Cool. Next step, weather description. What should be? Is a man.
No.
Oh.
It's
okay, it's not that.
So basically.
I think this one, right?
Yeah. Maybe
Where the
main.
job
I don't know. What does it say on our phone?
It's not in man here.
Yeah, it's weather document.
So our data, our weather dot weather again, and then the dot description. No, the first item, and then we dot description. Holy shit!
View class.
Same thing. Weather dot weather
Dot.
Oh no.
first, and then we dot description. Okay, let's see.
Maybe certain places have more weather.
It's so slow. It's goddamn slow. I think that's it.
Let me see the update.
There you go. We send a request. Our request is here, and then respond. We haven't received any response here for some reason.
Go ahead, open up your terminal. Like the server logs. Why you don't have the description? I don't see the weather updating.
It's not updating. You don't receive any response here.
We should get the error out.
Okay, now we've got the error.
Oh, there it goes.
There you go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
No, that's different from what was in the API before. We've had a few clouds, so maybe it's updated and that's what it was.
Yeah. Wow, it changed. The temperature has changed too.
Yeah.
This was 34.1. So it's good. It's good.
Do you have any questions so far, guys?
This is a very simple case. The data is very simple. Sometimes it's a huge slide, for example, 100 lines of JSON file or 1,000 lines. I actually run into a JSON file that have 3,000 lines, and then we have to render it all.
Can you show them everything? The loading.
The loading. So next, move on. Loading message. Okay, let's make it simple. Just show a text. Say I'm loading. When you first go into this. Okay, to do that you need initial state. Let's call it loading, and then set loading equal to use state. Loading is equal to.
Just look at weather. Just look at weather to do this.
What order?
If weather is null, return.
Okay.
So return hop first. Just return right here. Force a return right here for a loading screen. Go up. Return. Return. Yeah. Just like that. A div. Return a div. Then inside of it say like I'm loading. No, show them that. Just show them that.
So guys, we see that on line 33, we're returning right before the previous return. Okay, we returned on line 33 instead of line 34. So line 34 right now can never ever execute. It will never ever in no situation run. And let's look at our app. Okay, let's change that background because we see the text, or change the text color or something. And this is how we do inline styles in React. Okay, it's a syntax a little bit different. So we see I am loading on the screen. Why do we see I am loading on the screen? Let's look at the code compared to the screen. Can you put them both side by side? Why? It's because on line 33, returning. A component can also conditionally return. So now we can introduce a conditional looking at a variable that we already have. And we're gonna make an assertion. We're gonna make an assertion about our app if on this variable, and that's gonna determine what's gonna happen in the app. So let's look at the one variable that we have already. Weather. If weather is what?
No.
Is null. No, you just go that one. Yeah, there you go, like that one. Then
So that is null, return the first section. Else return the second.
So take a look at this. Oops, here. See that?
for a split second, take pictures in the
Just
top
for a
left.
split second. Okay.
When the app first loads, the weather is null. It takes a fraction of a second for us to get some data from an API, and then our weather value becomes a true statement. And then the inverse, the bang operator, show me that bang. The bang operator on line 32 says, okay, if I do have something inside my weather, then ignore this line, and continue moving forward. That's kind of funky. Can you move the line 33 up to one line, please? This keeps throwing me off. Something like that.
It means if else here. So you can skip it. Even if it does, yeah.
Do you have any questions on how that works?
We don't even need to use curly braces.
Say again?
We don't even need to use curly braces.
You don't need to use curly braces if your if conditional is one line. Okay?
One line here means one line of code, not one line like this. Actually, I can hit enter here. It's two lines, but still work. Maybe not.
Yeah,
It does. Yeah.
refresh again. Yeah, it does work. Yeah.
But if you use
One line of code doesn't mean these two lines, but only one line of code.
Okay, my bad. It's one expression. The real
Yeah.
is if it's one expression after the conditional, then you can drop the curly braces. And I know expression is like a very abstract word. You guys got to get practice. Yes, Ricardo.
you simply use the else if.
Yeah, if you want it, he can do it this way. Show him the if else. Show him it. That works. That's kind of sloppy though, man. I don't like that, man. Does that one seem more readable to you guys? I don't know, not me. I would prefer that you just have an if first, and then afterwards, if that if is not true, then you can move forward and do the last return. Only one of them can execute. Remember, just like yesterday, we looked at the sign-in page and the game page component. The sign-in component and then the game component. We just said, hey, only one of these can render. All right, so do you have any questions so far, guys? We're almost done with the app now.
Now, instead of just I am loading text here, you put it in another component, say a spinner. I mean, spinner. Okay, or something like an animation, something. Yeah, make it beautiful. Instead of
You can create a file in the components. Yeah.
just create another component and call it inside here. For example, my component like this. Okay. Any questions?
Guys, this lab is super easy, man. We've done this 4 times now, okay? What are the 3 API requests we made so far? Day 2 of JavaScript, or no, was it day 1? We did the currency converter thingy, that one API. After that, we did the Google News. And then after that, we called our one MyJSON API, okay? This is so common, guys. We gotta get data from our API. This is literally a requirement from your job. You gotta know how to do this. So this one's super easy. It's just a review of building components and stuff. Make it beautiful, guys. Can you show them my weather app on
Again?
No. Show them the one on GitHub, the mobile app one. I want to see if one of you guys can figure out how to do this. Go to GitHub. You know, I'm not trying to say that I'm super talented or anything, but you know, I'm saying I'm pretty good. I'm just kidding, guys. Come on, let's have fun. Let's have fun building our apps, okay? No, the React Native one. React Native dash weather.
You hide it.
Did I? No, they're all public. Next. Weather one. There it is. That one. I want to see something like this. I want to see whether or not one of you guys can figure out how to do this. Because this one's tricky. Look at the icons right here. Can you choose the appropriate icons based on the weather? Yeah. So look at that API. I guarantee you guys can do that. Or, you know, just if you guys have any ideas, any other sexy ideas, you know, for apps you guys build, then feel free to do that, you know. But I want to see the icons. I think that one's a nice touch. The appropriate icon depending on what weather it is. Yeah.
Maybe something like if it's too hot, then be careful when you go out.
Yeah, I have a custom prompt.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
That's a message.
Fami yesterday, he did gambling on his rock paper scissors. I thought it was pretty cool.
You did what?
Gambling. Like for every round you choose how much to bet. You start off with a certain amount of money. If you lose the money, and then the computer gains the money. And if you win, the computer loses the money, you gain the money. So that's. I
He's
just
a
ask him,
gambler.
go ask him, man. He wants to be your technical lead one day, man. He's working hard over here. Okay, so you guys, the app is super easy. Let's get to it, okay? All right, let's go, guys.